Good morning, students. In the second video of the same chapter, we had discussed about the origin of the civilization, the extent, and the characteristics of some of the monumental structures. In this video, we are going to discuss about trade and then the last part of the chapter. Coming to trade, the available seals indicate that Harappan civilization had both internal and external trade, overseas trade. The granaries, seals, the uniform script available in elsewhere, the weights and measures all indicate that the civilization were involved in both internal and external trade. So coming to internal trade, Harappan people usually traded stones, metal, shell, etc. within or among themselves, among the cities through barter system. Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, Lothal, they produced tools and weapons as well as kitchenwares and traded among themselves. Rice was imported from Punjab. Lothal and Surkatada so provided cotton. Balakot, Chanudaro, so they were centers of bangle making. And Lothal and Chanudar also produced manufactured beads, and these are the mainly traded tools and stuff among themselves. Coming to the external trade, so Lothal, Surkatada, Balakot, they traded overseas, especially with Mesopotamia, West Asia, and Afghanistan. The proof is Mesopotamia text refers trade with Meluha. Meluha is actually the ancient name given to Indus region, and they traded through ships and boats. Seals are the proofs that indicate trade happened between these two civilizations. They also exported and imported from West and Central Asian regions. For example, gold was imported from Karnataka and Afghanistan, copper from Rajasthan and South India, Balochistan and Arabia, lead from east or west of India. Weights and measures. A number of weights and measures have been discovered. People used to use cubical stone weights. The basic unit that was used was 16. In modern times, is equivalent to 14 grams. The larger weights were multiples of 16 like 32, 64, 128 and so on, and the smaller ones were all fractions of 16 like 8, 4 and so on. Transport. So for inland trade, the trade within, people used bullock carts and horse carts. They might have used camels too, especially in the border regions. The proof, there are various proofs indicating the use of bullock carts. There are copper, bronze and terracotta models of carts discovered or excavated in the regions. The overseas trade usually was done through ships and boats. The proof is we have Lothal, the dockyard. There are seals, terracotta models of ships and boats available. Art and craft. The main art and crafts were weaving. A piece of woven cotton was discovered. It seems Indus Valley civilization was the first civilization which taught the world about cotton. So Mohenjo-daro, cotton piece have been discovered in Mohenjo-daro, and textile impressions on many objects have been discovered. Apart from weaving, they also had boat making, seal making, terracotta articles making. So these are very prevalent during those times in Harappan civilization. Goldsmiths made jewelry of silver and gold, precious stones. There was also bead making. They also produced pottery on the potter's wheel with black geometrical patterns. The large jars with narrow necks and red pots with black decorations shows their artistic skills. Sculpture. So Harappan people knew how to make sculpture out of Metal. Apart from metal, they also made lots of sculptures, figurines out of terracotta, out of stone and metal. Terracotta. So many figurines and models of cards. The statue of Mother Goddess is the best example. Stone, the best example is bearded man that we discussed in the first video. Metal, the famous dancing girl. Apart from it, there are many figurines of buffalo, ram and cards models. The sculpture in metal was done through lost wax process. So in this process, first the figures, the images of statues were made in wax, and then they were covered with clay coating, dried. Then they heat the figure. When the figure was heated, the wax which was inside the coat, under the coat, melts and comes out through a hole. So later the hollow was filled with molten metal which would take the shape of the object. This is called the lost wax process. This is how they made most of the statues. For example, the bronze dancing girl statue. Ornaments. So ornaments were worn by both men and women. For example, necklace, finger rings, bangles, armlets, anklets, nose rings, fan-shaped headdress and earrings were very common. They are made up of gold, silver, precious stones according to their status. Rich wore gold, silver and precious stones, whereas poor were made up of shells or bones or copper and so on of low cost. Toys and amusement. People played games and many forms of entertainments. So dice, hunting, fishing was very common. They also played music with the drum and lyre because there are evidence indicating this on seals. Toy birds, animals, figurines, cards, whistles were also made, and they have been discovered in various regions. So the last part, the decline of the civilization. So there are various theories regarding the end of the civilization. Many archaeologists have come up with different theories. So let us discuss about them in detail. It seems the civilization declined all of a sudden around 1800 BCE. The likely causes for the decline were, first, the most important cause and most accepted cause is floods as well as earthquakes. Increased aridity, deforestation also might have caused their end, attacks from invaders. So Mohenjo-daro was constantly affected by the floods. There are evidence to prove that. For example, the whole region was actually discovered in 1921 and 22. So that tells that it was always affected by floods, and that may be the reason for its decline. So the whole region was under the mound. So there are evidence that the people built city again and again over the floods area. So when they discovered Mohenjo-daro, they also discovered places underneath. According to R.L. Riggs, the famous hydrologist, says the cause for sudden flood might have been earthquake, which might have uplifted the Indus plain, so block the way to sea and cause floods. So this is theory. So maybe one of the reasons for the decline of the civilization. Increased dryness, aridity. According to historians D.P. Agarwal and Sood, so they say the increased aridity might have caused the decline, especially in the tributaries of river Indus, which might have changed the cause due to earthquake maybe or tectonic disturbance. As a result, the Harrapan civilization did not get sufficient water. That maybe might have led to the dryness, and they might have just vanished from the place or migrated to the northeast regions. Third, deforestation. So Indus people used large quantities of wood to produce bronze and to make to bake bricks and to make pots, stonewares, and also they used furniture to make boards and many other tools. This could have caused deforestation and leading to climatic change. That may be another reason. There is also indications of foreign attacks. According to historian Mortimer Wheeler, Aryan invasion might have caused the decline. So he believed that in the last phase, the men and women and children were massacred by the Aryans on the streets. So what's the proof? So there is a proof where they have discovered the skeletons of 13 males and females, including a skeleton of a child which was lying in a room all together. This indicates maybe someone attacked them and killed all of them. So last part, the conclusion. So Harappan people, though vanished, have left great heritage to the future generations, especially the subcontinent. The Harappans' way of making baked potteries, bricks, beads, jewelry, textiles, etc., were adopted by later civilization, especially the Aryans, Vedic civilization, and continued for even today. They were the first to show how to cultivate cotton and make use of it. This is the first civilization which knew the art of weaving, and from here the other civilization borrowed the idea of cultivating cotton and making use of it. In religious sphere, the worship of Shiva, the mother goddess, sacred trees like people tree, animals, serpents, religious symbols, etc., were adopted by Hinduism, and some are continued to this day. They were the first to give the world the modern drainage pattern system, town planning, etc. That's the end of the chapter.